we've got our beavers planting. Plant some carrots. And you can do other plants as well. Sunflower, we need at least one sour for Ukraine. There we go. That's for Ukraine. Hello everyone, and I wouldn't say welcome back. Welcome to my first episode of a new game that I've discovered called Timberborn. Now, just in case you don't know what Timberborn is, it's basically a city building game with beavers. Funny enough, I thought it was otters, and I really wish it was otters. Part of me wishes it was otters, but no, it's beavers. And it's a really addictive. It's still in early access, so there's still quite a lot of changes that are kind of taking place with the game, so we are going into it. Just keep in mind it is early access, so what you're seeing may actually not be what you discover when you play it, if you play it yourself. But yeah, it's basically a city building game with beavers. So yeah, we're just going to play through it for a little bit and see how it goes. I'm getting really addicted to this game, so I'm relatively new, so we're just going to play the tutorial as well, and then keep going from there, and yeah, we'll take it from there. So what we'll do is we'll start a brand new game. We'll start completely fresh, and at the moment you can get basically two factions. So you got the Foxtails. Basically they're just the basic kind of team faction. I don't know why I look behind me. I got paranoid. But they're basically the beginner faction. Pretty straightforward. They look kind of neutral, as you expect a beaver to have, with a little hat. Funny enough, they don't actually wear the hats in the games. I wonder why that is. Yeah. But yeah, easygoing but hardworking foxtails are expert farmers. They respect nature and rewards them with plentiful bounties. Their motto: comfort, food, and sturdy wood. And then you've got this faction over here called Iron Teeth, which is a little bit more diving into kind of what I hope they do in the future, diving into more of the world of how beavers could look, and staying, not just one kind of stereotypical type. Called Iron Teeth. Now, I haven't unlocked them yet, because you do have to get morale of 11, and I'll show you that once we get into it. But defectors of the traditional timber ways, they mastered iron and science to build an advanced machinery. They achieve progress through ingenuity, efficiency, and disregard for the environment. So think of them more of a industrialist beavers. So I'm hoping to one day to get them, but because we're starting off, we'll go with Foxtails. Which, because I'm a newbie, it's probably a good thing. Now, there's no campaign as such. Well, now, at the moment, there isn't a campaign. The whole premise of the world is basically us humans, being the delightful humans that we are, we've destroyed it, and beavers essentially risen up and are taking over the world through their very passive and delightful ways. So we'll play very simple beginning. I think with this playthrough, what our goal is just to get to number 11, so moral 11, which again I'll explain when we get in the game, and then we'll move on to the Iron Tails and start again, so we can take what we've learned, and this is probably the better way to do it, because I'm still getting my head around it. But we'll do plains. All the sizes next to it, obviously it's the size of the map that you want to go. But we'll do a very simple plains, and we'll go with normal. A lot of people say, you should always start with easy and then work your way up with survival kind of city building games. I don't like to do that. I find you learn more on normal, because if you go easy, you start to forget about some of the basics you should really ramp up when you move up. So I find normal a bit easier to kind of learn and get my head around. So we'll start there. So yeah, it's a really fun game so far. There are ways to speed up movement and slow down. I'm a purist in the sense of I kind of like spending the time just kind of like when it's dark or there's some downtime. I kind of like chilling, looking at the environment, thinking about what I'm going to do rather than speed it up. Some people speed it up and down. I'll kind of show you how that works in a sec. But I'm more of a kind of a purist when it comes to that. I kind of like just city building games. I kind of like to de-stress and use. So what should we call the settlement? All right, we'll call it Dave Wood. Dave Wood. I sound like Chris Woods, who's a footballer. Dave. Oh, how about Dave's Woods? There we go, Dave's Woods. Very stereotypical. Well, I'll call it Dave Woods. Dave's Woods. Anyway, so they're the beavers. There they are, right there. There they are. And I just realised the tutorial's off. Why is the tutorial off? I guess once you played it enough, the tutorial comes off. Hold up. Sorry about that. I had to figure out how to get the tutorial back up, and I realised my camera was covering it, so I moved my camera slightly up. That was a bad start. Anyway, I should have done testing. So welcome. This tutorial will help you with all the basics with building a beaver settlement, which I think they should introduce factions of otters and turtles. I think that would be wicked. I really hope they do that. Turtles and otters would be amazing. Anyway, just because I really like those two animals, and I was a little bit disappointed when I found out beavers. Anyway, this tutorial will help you with all the basics of building a beaver settlement. Oh, we should start that up. Every new settlement needs logs, so only lumberjacks will cut down trees. So place 2 lumberjack flags to the nearby trees. So these are the trees here. You can see they tell you how much logs they give, and pretty much logs is the bread and butter of this world, which is obvious because it's called Timberborn, so makes sense. So we're going to place 2 of these, and you push the route. Because I want to make this little log factory, and that will make sense if you go along, and I might as well put them over here. And you'll realize why it's quite important to kind of reserve the green for a few other things. So as you see, the otters kind of jump to it. Now it's basically a sign worker. It's if you played Rise to Ruins and a lot of other survival kind of city building games, you kind of assign the villagers to basically their tasks. And on the left up here, you kind of got a breakdown of what everyone's assigned to. So I kind of always make sure I fill up everything that I can, because you've got the unemployed section here. So you can keep track of who's just sitting around doing nothing. And we've got children and adults, so they start off children like these ones, and you can see there's little adult banner until they basically become a worker, so you want to keep an eye on that. Cool, continue. Flags will not be built unless they're in the district's building range, so if you click here, you can see the building range of your district, and that expands as you grow and expand. And yeah, that's what you can see. It's a pretty big map as well, so we're gonna expand on that. And you can see by extending paths. So paths kind of make the range bigger and so forth. I'm still struggling to get the mechanics of it, but getting there. Every building with an entrance must be connected to a district centre by a path, like there. Be aware that district centres have a limited range. Build paths to connect lumberjack. I've already done that. I jumped the gun a little bit. I guess once you play the game enough, you kind of do things by instinct. You can select the district centre to see the range. Yep, I've done that. Lumberjacks will not start working until you tell them what to do. So at the moment, if you see that little banner, they are confused, they don't know what to do, so they need to be told which trees to cut down. It's very useful, especially when you go into later game when you're doing harvesting and so forth. A lumberjack will only cut trees within its range. You can select, you can check it by selecting a flag. So you can select that, and that tells you the range, because if you notice, those ranges change. You see that? So they will only cut down what's in the range. So sometimes you have to build it closer to whatever you want to cut down. So we're going to mark all these trees over here with cutting. So they won't do anything outside of what's highlighted there. And later we'll build a forester and kind of make this a little bit renewable. But at the moment, we just want them to cut it. So if you see that, cutting it down, and then they'll dump it here eventually. There's not really, like, they tend to do that animation there for a lot of things. I would like to see more custom animation, but to be honest, it's just a little minor thing. Anyway, we'll continue. Beavers need water to survive. Very important water. It's bugging me a lot of the times, not worrying about water. So, and obviously, you know, beavers, waters, makes sense. You want to build a water pump to ensure continuous source of drinking water. Remember to connect it to a district centre. So we're going to build a water pump. So we'll go to the water tab. Build a water pump. Yep, there we go. And where do we want it? We'll build it there. We'll probably need a few more. I haven't really perfected the best way to manage my water, but we'll build it there, and we'll make this path right down there. Just to kind of make it a bit shorter distance to go take the logs, if you can see here, all the logs. Take into there, which will be at 12 logs, so we'll see that start to build. There you go. As they run back and forwards. Now, there is a day-night cycle, as you can see. It's going a bit dark. A lot of people speed it up during this point. And you can kind of schedule the work days as well. I haven't messed with that yet, because I don't know the positive and negatives you can get by reducing it and increasing it, and still have I'm very new at this game, which makes it brilliant to do a let's play, because you can see me essentially evolving over time of how I play the game, and a lot of the time you kind of want the setup already done by the time the first night kicks in. And if you can see when they're idling around about the kind of break time, but just before they go to bed, they don't have a lot to do right now because I haven't built my home. There's a lot of leisure things you can do, like a campfire. You can build a little campfire for them, so they do that. And there's a rooftop terrace which you can build on top of buildings, and unlocks other things as you go through. There's a science, and we'll explore all that as we go along. But I'm going very slow with the tutorial right now. I'm looking at some berries here. That's going to be rather important, which I should speed up on it, because this game is pretty brutal. And you can lose beavers pretty quickly if you don't look after them. I'm not very good at losing workers or populations in any game. I tend to do save and wind back, but I think I need to sometimes let it go and grow back. But as they're all sleeping, we're going to do something. So in the next episode, if you want one of the beavers named after you, put a little comment below. Any comment can do. If you specifically don't want you to be mentioned and you make a comment, just say that. But we're going to name them, and I'm a big Ninja Turtle fan, so we're going to call them all after Ninja Turtles. just a bit of fun. So we've got Leonardo. So we've got Leonardo, and I'm going to misspell these names because I'm terrible at spelling. Donatello. There we go. Donatello. So we've got, we've got 11. So that's what the night can be for, just playing around and naming ones. We've got Michelangelo, there we go. And we need one more Raphael. So pretty much this is what I do during the night, just to kill time. Just naming my little beavers. So I've got the first 4 turtles. How much time we got? You got a little clock over here on the right. It's nearly over, but I think we've got another name in there. Splinter. Cool. So we've got Splinter, and we've got April and Neil, right? Neil. There we go. I'm just going to name them all after Ninja Turtles characters. For now, if you want your name after one of these guys, just leave a comment below. I'm pretty much only naming them just because it's a bit of fun, and I kind of like the idea of these characters kind of doing my work. And they woke up. I think, what did we get? 6 out of 11. So what? We've got another 5 more to name to hit that 11 mark. To increase your population, you essentially need good housing. You basically just need to oversource yourself with housing. And from what I've learned, your population typically doesn't go above it. Yeah, it doesn't go above the population cap of how many houses you've got. So it's worth noting. I don't know if that's intentional or whether I just haven't come across it. So as they're kind of building this, which is actually nearly done. So this is nearly done. So what that does now is just going to pump water from the river. As you can see, the river here. It's going to pump water there and supply it for everyone. So if you click it, you can see basic needs. Now this number here, this 3, which is on the top left as well, that's that 11 thing, also the morale, that mark that we have to hit in order to essentially unlock the next faction. So our goal is to get to 11. So we're 3 at the moment, and it's pretty much you get that by just increasing all these factors, and it works on an average. So you need the average to hit 11. At the moment it's 3, which is quite low, and it also increases the life of your beavers, from what I've learned. I think, I'm not sure. Anyway, let's move on. In addition to water, beavers also need food. Build a gatherer's flag near some blueberry bushes. The gatherers will automatically gather berries within the flag's range. So down here, that's why I was spying it before. Here's your blueberries. So we need to start gathering some goodies. So we'll put them here. You can plant more blueberry bushes, which, to be honest, I think is I underuse it, mainly because I rely on farming, but I don't realize the farming I seem to mess up all the time. So you pretty much want blueberries as just that reassurance that you're going to have enough food, because food and water is the two things that I'm still struggling to get my head around, of making sure I have enough for the drought, which basically it works on a kind of cycle. And it seems like the droughts and the days get a bit longer as the game progresses. So the droughts means no more water. So it means you kind of have to store water, because everyone needs to drink every day. And store food, because all this kind of land here, you can't grow food. You can't grow trees on it. And it only turns to this green color because of this water. So once that water dries up, that becomes that. No plants grow, nothing. So essentially you have to store it for winter. Think of it like a squirrel kind of game. These pretty much should be just squirrels at this point. So yeah, developers, somehow any of you watch this game, turtles, squirrels, and otters. Perfect. And I would love the aesthetic to kind of represent, like, the buildings, if those other races existed, to kind of represent that, just new skins and stuff. That would be cool. Anyway, not talking about me thinking video game development is that easy. Let's go. Oh, these guys are a bit thirsty. Yeah, so this is chugging out water. So if you notice, they're just going there. And it's getting a bit low. So I'm hoping I have enough water to feed these guys. So it's a bit slow. So we need to speed this up. So we've got gatherers here. See, that's a bit... We'll reduce that by 1. So we'll get these gatherers. So basically they're gathering blueberries. And over here you got your food thing. You got water too, but food. So a settlement needs a stable source of food. This is the farming I'm talking about. Build a farmhouse to plant and harvest crops. If you're running low on workers, you can you can pause some buildings, and to do so, select a building and click the P button. So just like that. Simple as that. Or you can even push it here. Either one. Like many other buildings, a farmhouse has limited range. So, as I said before, you only can plant on the green. So we kind of want to build stuff that's not necessarily need green on this side and the farming on this side. So you kind of want to set it up that way. However I'm going to set it up, people are going to probably have an issue with it, but we're going to do it this way. So we're going to build that little farmhouse on the side. I kind of like building... So you got log storage as well. Where's the log storage? Is it storage? There you go. Yeah, log pile to kind of move this, because eventually that gets full. Just for this tutorial, we don't really need to. But that's what I typically do at this point in the game anyway. Don't know if it's right, it's just kind of what I like to do. And so that would be... Well, we're nearly there. We've got a healthy amount of logs there. The thing you want to speed up fast, you want to kind of make your sources of food and wood renewable pretty much as quickly as you can. So this tutorial will kind of show you the basics of it, but I always aim for trying to get a forester pretty quickly, and making sure I grow trees and blueberries at least, just to keep the source of wood up. When you run out of wood, it's a little bit tragic, because everything just stops. It pretty much slows everything, and trees take a while to grow. If you look on, I think maybe I can show here them. I feel bad because they're just standing around at the moment because I haven't got any leisure stuff going. But if you see here, days to grow 9 days. 12 days for pine, 30 days for maple, 24 for chestnut. And these are pines, so they take about 12 days to actually grow to this point. So it does take a while, so you kind of want to plant early and just keep it renewable. I kind of go up in a scale at the moment. Ooh. Yeah, I know. I have to unlock Forester to do that. I kind of go birch first, and once my birch crops start to come right, I switch over to pine just to keep that turnover going. Because if you run out of wood, everything seems to kind of slow down. Alright, so let's go back to naming. So what we got as far as April O'Neil. Shredder, Raphael, Donatello, April O'Neil, there we go. Alright, so we're going to go for Casey Jones. Cool. Who else? Slash, who's an evil turtle. We'll go for Jenica, which is the new Ninja Turtle. And if you don't know that, you should look it up. Jenica? Is it Ika or Aka? Jenica. We'll go with Jenica. It's probably E. It feels like it's an E. I should look that up. I'll look it up for next episode. Jenica, and then I think that's all of them. Did we get all of them? I think that was all of them. One thing I've noticed here, which is actually rather frustrating, I can't find. Oh, Dondo has grown up, or one of our guys have grown up. Oh, he's there. Is he? Or where is he currently assigned? I just renamed him. I think it was Jenica, who just grew up. Anyway, one thing that's I find a bit annoying, I can't find where it can just give me a list of everybody. Like, there's no way to kind of show like the list of everyone so I can name them properly and keep track of them, because it tends, when you get to the higher populations, everything gets a bit out of control, and I lose track. Rather annoying. So I wish there was like some kind of button. I don't think you can. No, it's not button. Anyway, let's get this going, because I think that's where it's going to get on top of me pretty quickly. So we've got the farmhouse there, and we'll reduce that by 2, just to make sure we've got enough people. Yeah, well, enough beavers occupying it. So busy beavers. A settlement needs a stable sort of food, but yep, build a farmhouse, cool, we'll do that. Farmers will not start working until you tell them what and where to plant. Use the plant crops tool and mark a carrot field. So let's get our carrots going. So it needs to be on irrigated land, which is the green. They won't plant on that. So let's get a good healthy amount of crops going. Let's really just flesh this out. And we'll build that many. Maybe a bit excessive, but my plan is to build several different crops. So let's call this carrot crop, and hopefully we don't get too big. And I'll probably put. See, the range is pretty big. We'll probably build a few more farmhouses because you only can get 2. What I typically do though is switch this to planting, and that will make sense later. I'll kind of explain that as we go. So yep, we planted. It had to be about 70, so that was plenty. There we go. While all the buildings you've placed have some storage, they fill up quickly. Build a log pile, as I talked about before. Small water tanks to store the water, so we want to store that. And a small warehouse to store the berries and other resources, which includes carrot and pretty much anything that needs extra storage. So let's do the log. Now, as I said, we kind of don't want to build it on luscious green, because it's just real estate you don't want to lose. So we're going to build it over this side as much as we can. So let's build the log pile there. Now, the water, I might need to break my rule, but we'll make it over here. Because we'll probably want housing to be like over here or something. So we want this to be relatively close. So let's build about 3 of them there. We're going to need a few of them. Let's build an extra 4. Oh, actually, no, we'll stick to the tutorial just so we can get out of the tutorial land. So we've got a log pile there, and if you notice, they just automatically start dumping logs. See that one? Oh no, he's going to there, never mind. But they would start dumping it in there. Which is very good, because these only can hold 15. You need a lot of logs. A lot of logs. Kind of goes a bit insane for a little bit. How many logs? I think some buildings in like 80 or something ridiculous. And the last one is a small warehouse. Alright. Small house. Now, where do we want to put the small warehouse? Because I like upgrading to the larger warehouses sooner rather than later. But for the sake of this, we'll build it... let's build it just to keep everything nice and tight at the moment. We'll probably destroy this later on, but we'll just build it there for now to get our basics going. So that's our basics. So we've got our beavers cutting down wood. See, look at, there's not a lot of trees. I'm really gonna run low on this area. We've got our beavers planting. Plant some carrots. And you can do other plants as well. Sunflower, we need at least one sour for Ukraine. There we go. That's for Ukraine. And they're constantly updating it. I just only learned that the sunflower, due to the atrocities that happened in Ukraine, they've introduced that, and actually introduced the Ukrainian language into the game, because it actually turns out this game is developed by a studio in Poland, which is obviously right next to this whole world event that's happening right now. So honestly, the people that do those types of changes and actively show their support, you only can give them support back. So it's the main reason I finally decided to buy this game and get into it, is because of everything that's happening. So kudos to everyone that introduced that, and yeah, let's hope this all ends very soon. Anyway, enough dark stuff for now. So yep, we've got, see, there we go. We've got them piling up a little bit. You can build workers, labor, which one am I thinking about? A hauling post. So you can build this hauling post, and that pretty much just means you can get more people to carry stuff throughout the village, you could say. So it's quite important. Cool. Sorry, my wrist was vibrating. It does that more often than it probably should. It's just telling me to walk more. Don't need to walk. Playing a video game. So yeah, as you can see, it's storing water here. So it's bringing the water from over here all the way to there, and then these guys have a less to move. When we start building housing, because you got housing over here, which is going to be the next in line once we get these two up and running. They kind of want all their needs around each other, so they're not kind of going all over the show. You kind of want it rather tight. I haven't really perfected, the best way to approach that. Oh look, all our carrots are nearly done. I've got a feeling that we're going to get a drought before these carrots are done, because I took too long. But we should have enough berries. Got a few berries. I don't know if we might lose a few guys along the way. Guys and girls. They don't really have genders, do they? Nah, they don't really have genders. And so we've got about halfway done of what they want us to do. But it's looking good. Our little beaver colony is starting to come together. We've got the basics, and then we're going to start expanding from there. See, if we look at science inventor, that's probably I think that's in the tutorial. Pretty sure it's, I think the power, because you can do power and everything. This little wheel that you put in the water generates power. Problem is, it's a lot of wood, which it's really hard once you kind of. That's where you have to be. That's why I'm not going to build too much at the beginning, because that always messes me around if I don't get my renewable kind of sources up and running first, because that's going to cause some problems if I run out of wood, and there's a good chance I could. See, I don't think there are some steps here, so I guess I could, if I run out of wood, I could chop all these down. These are pines too. Is there some steps into that? No, there isn't. So if you see there's some steps there, you can build a little bridge there. Oh, Yes is growing up. Oh, I didn't rename you, so we'll call you Venus de Milo. The worst Ninja Turtle, but I'm still naming her Venus de Milo. And I think we'll actually leave it there for now, because we'll leave it there for now. So thanks you all for watching. I hope you really enjoy Timberborn. It's becoming one of my favorite games. They're constantly updating it, so if you do want to see another episode of this, leave a comment, like, subscribe. All that stuff actually does help me, because it tells me what people actually enjoy, what kind of games I like to play, and I do this as a hobby, and it's rather fun. But next time, there will be another episode of this regardless. I always like to do 2 or 3 of at least one game. We'll finish off building our storage, and hopefully we'll move on to possibly finishing the tutorial, even though it's taken this long already. But until next time, and again, if you want your name in the next episode, leave a comment below. But until next time.